Today we have a great topic, and what we're going to be doing is something that we've done before. Is we're going to be having a part 2 on this topic.
Wait, what?
We're going to. I know we're going to. Would you date a man with a female best friend, or vice versa? Somebody. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Nadiva. Thank you so much for joining us today. We got a special show today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and share.
Send money.
Yeah, and send money and buy some merchandise. Thank you very much. And subscribe. Subscribe. Exactly. Let's jump right into it, though. I got my Dr. Serena co-host. Hallelujah. She is. And Maestro Michael Parker in the building. Yeah.
It'll be fine. I apologize. It's okay. It's
No,
all right.
no. They was in the bathroom.
Okay. See, they always helping each other.
Yeah,
See?
see, that's a teamwork with the dream work. You know what I'm saying? Because we getting older, we need glasses. You know.
She ain't lying.
I'm
I'm gonna read the words upside down.
That's okay. He'll make it through. I got
Miss-
some bling glasses if you need them, though. You know they
I
got
won't
some
explain
bling.
that to nobody. No. I don't know TV. No.
Well, you know what? If you all were watching last week's episode. Oh, here comes our production assistant with Michael glasses.
We old in this show, girl. Go to the store, give me some
Thank
bologna.
you so much, Deja.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you. But yes, if you watched last week, we were touched upon a topic that was kind of controversial, and I'm hoping that many of you commented. But yesterday, last week's topic was: would you date a man with a female best friend, or vice versa? Would you date a man with a female best friend and vice versa? And we touched upon some stats. And one thing that this is coming from the psychologytoday.com. Well, first and foremost, how y'all doing?
Hey.
You good?
We good.
You good? You
We
good?
ready to get this topic.
I'm good.
You good? Y'all looking magnificent. Look at Serena. Got the hair pulled back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Serena got lots
yes,
to dump on this topic. I think her name was in the sentence. Yes. But was she going to talk about more about that? But some of the stats are, can men and women be just friends? Despite the fact that opposite sex friends have become more common in the past several decades, it's a situation recent research shows most people view with suspicion, and these suspicions are actually substantiated by research. For example, Monsieur Harris and Kurzweil found that 64% of men and 44% of women reported that their cross-sex friends became their sexual partners. However, as men and women have more opportunities to interact with one another in the workplace and social settings, it is inevitable that people of the opposite sex will find common interest and connection with one another that is likely to evolve into a friendship. But there are 6 things you should never do when you have an opposite sex friend. Number 1 is never prioritize an opposite sex friend above your intimate relationship. Telling an intimate partner that if he or she doesn't accept the opposite sex friendship, that you will break up with them is not only lethal to the intimate relationship, it is akin to the emotional abuse used by narcissistic individuals when they engage in the abuse tactic of triangulation. And we can kind of go on and on, but I just kind of wanted to give you all an opportunity to really touch upon this, because I have some, other things that I could read, but I think our own personal opinions and experiences might really help some of our viewers to understand how we deal with this topic. I think we can all touch on it from some perspective. Who wants to go?
Well, Serena did.
Yeah, Serena got some stuff.
She did mention earlier her expertise in this.
Yes, go ahead, Serena.
She has them.
Well, I don't know if it will be expertise, but I have when I was 14 years old, in high school, I met my friend Kevin. He was like the first person I met in school. It was in my Spanish class. And he was funny and charismatic. And he was 1 year older than me. So he showed me the ropes of the school. Now, at 14, 15, you automatically think that has to be I guess you would say a boyfriend, girlfriend interest or whatever. And so we talked about that for maybe a minute, but he was just so cool that I was like, you know what? We can't even entertain this because you're so
You didn't want to mess it up.
wonderful to
Yeah,
me
you didn't want to mess
as
it
a
up.
friend that I really want to see you in my life forever. And I don't know where I got the wisdom at 14 years old to be able to say, no, we not going to try anything or whatever. But I just saw him as a long-term friendship. We just got each other. And he was like my brother. He became and so I'm the oldest child, and so he's older than me. So then it was like he was my big brother. So I've had that like protector type thing, and so that's how it was, you know. And when I met my husband, on the first date that my husband took me out on, he picked me up from Kevin's house. So Kevin and I was mad cool. So,
But that's a great way of setting expectation.
yeah.
I think.
Go ahead. No, wait. What do you mean by that? What do that mean?
Well, I mean, she's already setting the expectation from the beginning. She's basically introducing him from the start,
Gotcha,
so
gotcha.
that it's not like 6 months down the line. Now she's introducing Kevin.
I took it the wrong way. I thought expectation is in comparison. I got you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Now
no,
what's
she's
the
setting the right
comparison? Okay,
expectation.
And so that's what it was. So me and Kevin that day, we went and played basketball and we was chilling. And then I told Kevin, I was like, hey, I met this guy. I really like him. I want you to meet him. And I told my now husband, hey, you're going to meet my friend. He's my boy best friend. And you're going to meet him today too, because you're important to me and he's important to me. And so they met, and Kevin is a handsome guy too, you know, and my husband is handsome. So it was like you could have heard like the music, like the showdown and everything like that. And so
You know what? I'm very curious to know though, because I think I was talking in one episode about that. I feel like I have more male friends than I do female friends. And some of my male friends happen to be single. Have they had an attraction to me? Yeah, but I set up strict boundaries with them, and they know never to cross it. I try to talk openly about my dating experience with them so that I'm setting the right expectation for them, right? And keeping that boundary set in place. However, I've always had an issue with then explaining to somebody new coming into my life that I have these male friends. I don't know how to explain it. So how did you explain it to your then boyfriend at the time?
Or potential boyfriend. because he
Potential
wasn't even my
boyfriend, right?
That's right.
That you have this. Did you say like? Because I've been thinking of all kinds of things to say. It's my cousin. You know.
Oh, no. No.
I didn't know he was Jewish.
It's my cousin.
No, definitely I didn't do that. So relationship starts with friendships. So when I met my husband and we spoke on the phone and we did all of that, I knew for him it was a different relationship than Kevin. I was interested in him romantically. And so therefore, Kevin was my friend and he was important to me. And so I just told my then potential boyfriend, I just want you to know, like I have a male best friend. And he couldn't even fathom what that was. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, a male best friend. So y'all never kissed. Y'all never did. So you got to
So like you got this, I guess you have to expect the barrage of questions.
So you got to run down the whole list of all the things you never did. You got to run down the whole list of did you think about it and all of this. So you say no. Well, for me, it's not no, but it was like, no, we didn't, And then him and Kevin, I was like, I would like for you to meet Kevin and get to know him so you could get to know him and see, what's the deal or whatever like that. And so he met Kevin. He was like, okay, he cool people. And then what happened? Kevin came to a family event. And so his family at this point met most of the people in my family. So they never met Kevin. So when they was like, okay, who's this guy? And so Mark was like, that's Serena's best friend. Now, after the event and everything, and Kevin was very respectful to everybody, my husband had the biggest, we had a really big argument. And I was like, but you was kind of cool with it until your family
Had an issue.
Had an issue.
Or was questioning.
And was questioning. So is it because you really are not cool with it? Or is it because you don't know how to explain it to your family? And so that was a whole...
And it also could be an ego thing, too.
So that was a whole thing.
Yeah, especially in front of his family because, he's bringing you around and you're bringing this other man around. So it's almost like,
This other good-looking man.
Well, from a male perspective, what do you think that? How do you think that would have...
I can understand because we've discussed your husband's nationality, your husband's
he's Guyanese.
You can see
Caribbean.
Caribbeans.
They don't play that.
The
Territorial.
masculine men, and if it don't make sense, they're gonna say it don't make sense
Right.
the way that they say it don't make sense. And then the whole family and the mother. Nah, you had it was a no-win situation.
It was a situation.
Yeah, you couldn't win if you wanted to, and those are the kind of situations you have to be. Very not mature. You have to be sensitive on how you present that person because
and delicate,
very delicate because their opinion is gonna weigh different because of how their community is. Yeah, and it doesn't. Out of that community, it's not gonna make sense that that you have a male best friend who's good looking.
And I didn't even.
And he was single at the time.
How long ago was this?
Well, me and my husband been together for 30 years, so this would be
20-something years ago.
Yeah. Like this happened in the first 3 years.
Oh yeah.
So this happened in the first 3 years of our relationship, and so then it also, and at the time Kevin was single, and so then my husband and I got married. Kevin was at the wedding. So now...
Was he in the wedding?
That's what I was going to say. Was he in the wedding?
No, he wasn't in the wedding.
Really?
He wasn't in
Did
the
he feel some type of way about being not in the wedding? Not being in the wedding?
Well, this is a funny.
This turned around this Serena show.
Yeah. So this is a funny. So Kevin ended up dating a girl named Serena. So he brought Serena to my wedding.
Damn it, Kevin. You should have changed her name for that day.
For
Listen,
real.
your name is
Use
Shay.
her middle name. Just for the day.
Yeah, we're going to use your middle name.
Just for the day.
And so at this point, the family done saw Kevin a couple of times. So they was kind of cool. But then my husband again became not cool. He was like, how you go finding Serena? You know what I'm saying? And so now that was...
That's that West Indian, baby. They don't want
you will never lie, You are never lie.
So then
they can do it all day.
They can do it all day.
All day, but don't let their women do it.
Yeah. So that was a challenge. And then Kevin started dating his wife. And so then Kevin...
Her name ain't Serena, too.
No.
Thank you, Jesus.
And so then Kevin did exactly what I did. Like, since I was important to him and everything, he invited my husband and I out and to introduce us to his wife. And so...
Did that make it better?
For her?
No, for Mark.
Well, at this point now, Mark is pretty cool.
I know, but did it make him feel a lot more, let's say, secure in your relationship with your best friend because he was marrying a woman and he knew that...
That wasn't you?
That wasn't you. And whose name wasn't Serena.
You know what? I don't know. But at this point, he was pretty cool.
He had gotten over it. Gotcha.
But he comes back. The interesting thing is, like, maybe every 10 years, he could get a flare-up. and it just
Why
come
you
back.
said it like it's a rash?
Because y'all men be like women too. Y'all be sitting there
No, for
stewing.
real, like,
It
say
may
for-
not come out as quickly as ours.
Like a rash.
So,
Y'all hold it in for about 10 years, but
So
it
say
comes
for
out.
example, right, like during COVID, Kevin is an essential worker. I'm home. So Kevin, I'm calling and checking on him and making sure he's safe. His wife is a nurse, so they both worked in the hospital. I'm home. And then when my family got COVID, Kevin is checking in on me and all of that stuff. So that was like a resurging of us talking more frequently than we did. Mm-hmm. And so then my husband was like, yo, what's up? Like, is everything cool? And I was like, yeah. So it just will have its different moments.
Right.
And when you was talking about the don'ts, like, I was like, wow, me and Kevin did like 3 of those.
Right. Well, I didn't even get through all 6.
Yeah.
But I can definitely agree with that because I've been in a situation where I've been in a relationship and my significant other had a female best friend, and he tried it one time to nix our plans to go out with her. I was not having that. I'm not having that. And I think I'm a very secure woman, but I just also feel that there's a certain etiquette, especially when you're dating someone, and because it's hard. It's hard to date. It's hard to build relationships with somebody, right? So I just found that it had kind of caused a strain on our relationship until the roles were actually really defined. Everybody had an understanding. We all broke bread together. She knew who I was in his life. And I understood where they came from as a friendship. But of course, I had 1,000,001 questions because, I try to, keep something nice on my arm, you know what I mean? So I'm like, sometimes I'm puzzled. Like, how come you didn't want to sleep with him? What's wrong with you?
Oh, what's wrong with him?
I'm just saying. What's wrong with him?
Now that's a good one. That was a question that my husband had and his wife had. Like, that was a constant thing.
Right.
Because, like,
y'all are two attractive beings. It would be, an act of God that you never acted out on it, Like, what do you think about that down there?
I'm living. I don't know how this happened, and this is, I guess, the God's will, because I live the opposite of that. My wife has a best friend. Now, our situations are different and unique because I knew her best friend before I knew her. There was an instance where, growing up, certain church community is small. Grew up in a church. At one particular time, my mother helped his family. I used to go down south every year and come home, and there's a family in the house. Like, oh, okay. They had a situation they needed to live with us for a little while, and they were there. And my wife's best friend was part of that the family. So years later, move on. They have been friends. She told me stories of how he had to stay at her mother's house for a little while, and there was never any. And I knew from, if she said something that there's never any romantic involvement, I take it for what it is, because she's that's the way she is. But I understood the dynamic of their relationship. And so it was unique in that to where, in the back of your mind, like, well, why didn't y'all have a date? But it wasn't where I felt threatened. You know what I'm saying? And he's this nice looking guy. Oh, he's not as cute as I am.
No, it's me. No.
He's that beautiful. See those eyes? See that red? See that? Anyway, but so I never felt threatened because she assured me, and I know their relationship,
Right.
and I know him.
Right.
So that it became unique in that situation to where I could understand, and they're still friends. When he calls, okay, fine. They talk, and they're good and they're fine. He calls her mother mom, and how's your mother doing? We know her. We know his mom real well in the church community. Lord God, I ain't even gonna say his name.
Good thing or bad? I'm talking about his mama now.
But then I also had two situations. Well, unbeknownst to everyone, this is my second marriage. My first wife went to heaven, so we were married for 17 years. Yeah. Before we got together, I did have a female best friend. And my girlfriend at the time, was very insecure about it. And the best friend understood. because she was like, nope, you seem.
See, and I love that.
Yeah, she understood, and she said, no, I'm going to
Fall back.
And whatever. And we parted ways, and I always felt that I missed out on a great opportunity for them to get to know each other because we were good friends. And I didn't want to ruin that. I didn't want to get rid of that friendship. But because she fell back and I couldn't stop her from falling back, I felt like I missed out. But then when my wife passed away, and a few months later, we started dating, which was the biggest mistake ever.
Didn't work.
The biggest mistake ever. And it was like, ooh.
So wait, can I ask you? Were you attracted to her when she was your...
No, because at that time, she was dating another friend of mine. And we were like brother and sister. And it was cool, but then as we got older and whether I was vulnerable or whether I was whatever, after my first wife passed away, we wound up dating, and it was great when we dated, but it was a bad breakup. Because we should have never crossed that road. Now, but it didn't ruin the friendship. We should have just never did that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, it didn't ruin and it was fortunate that we ruined the friendship. So when I started dating my wife now, she was very, very happy, but then she wound up moving away, and it was like, oh, I could never still get that. But I'd say that to say this. We understood that after messing around, that it was like, we shouldn't have did that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have gone that far. And then
Now, did you tell your wife that y'all were intimate?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then, if say she calls now, you can talk to her and
because when we dated, when we broke up, and I told my wife everything, I said that was a ship I should have never drove down in the river on. And then my wife was very understanding, because at that particular time, after my first wife died, I was everywhere.
I know you were so.
I was so you know, and I hate to say I got a pass for being stupid at that time, because I did
but
a
you
lot.
wasn't so, and grief and everything. Like you don't know what you're doing.
But then, this is how crazy that part was. I wound up dating another friend, and that went really bad because she couldn't understand why she didn't become that one. Yep, she couldn't understand it. It was bad.
And holding grudges. Well, that's what happened.
It was bad. And I told her before we started messing around, I said, look, we shouldn't do this because I'm not gonna change my mind about you being that one. Because I know too much about you. Yeah. That's the only thing about friendships. Yeah. Because you know too much. You know too much.
Well, I told y'all this was going to get topic.
Yeah,
this topic was going to be juicy.
good.
This topic is going to be juicy. But, you know, I always feel, and this is one of the reasons why I'm really not cool with it, is because, you know, best friends take things to the grave. They do. So sometimes you may or may not know the truth about that relationship and what the true goings-on was in there, because they taking things to the grave. So, you know what I'm saying?
But I'm going to just say
but I'm not saying, I'm just saying. That's why
You're
for me,
different, though.
I would not be comfortable with that, because I know my loyalty and things like that. And if somebody told me exactly not to say nothing or whatever, I'm going to keep it. You know what I mean? Unless it will harm that person. But let me tell you what God said about it. Because God did have a word on it.
Here go the Lord.
And this is actually coming from Ruth. When she's talking to her Boaz. And this kind of summed it up for me, because this was a difficult topic for me to kind of pull a scripture on, so I got something most relatable to me for it. But in Ruth 1:16 through 17, it says, "Do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go," now she talking to her man. "For where you go, I will go. And where you lodge, Negro, I'm going to lodge there too." You know what I'm saying? That's what she said. I'm
I don't
sorry.
see Negro in
I'm
that
sorry.
scripture.
I'm just saying. That's what it
Make up
said.
my concordance.
Well, I'm just
It don't
saying.
say it.
I just threw that in there. That's what God would say if he was here today.
No, that's what you said.
I'm just saying. But she did say, where you go, I will go. And where you lodge, I will lodge.
Negro.
For people.
But I agree.
Your people. She said, your peoples will be my peoples.
And that's what I did.
Right. And your God is going to be my God.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's what Ruth said. So you know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? You already know he got that best friend. Where they go, you get to go too.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
do not, no,
Yeah.
You work out your own soul salvation with fear and trembling. Y'all
But
working out
but
the best way
Lord
you
said
can.
it. It's okay. It's okay.
No.
It's okay.
But look, just like when you have your girlfriends, you have your quiet time. You don't need to do that. It's trust.
Yeah, trust them.
And you got to trust.
But what I'm saying is that a spouse has every right, if they want to go, your significant other cannot and should not tell you you can't. It distinctly said
Work
it in the
out your own
stats. You
Okay,
never
yeah.
pick your best friend's relationship over your romantic partner. So if your romantic partner says, y'all going out to dinner, I'd like to come, then why not?
But are you doing it because you really want to be there and enjoy
Why
the
not?
company? Or you doing it there because you keeping an eye?
Well, whatever it is, it's
Marriage
your
is not
significant
trust, it's not
other.
good, no.
I mean, like I said, this is a hot topic.
It's
See,
gonna
we
be-
still got more to talk
We gonna
about.
argue when this is
we all
over.
got
Yes.
different perspectives.
And another
on it.
thing, I
But
told you.
I'm just saying, y'all know what a comment line is.
Yep.
You know what
But
I'm saying?
look, it works.
Comment.
30 years in, though.
It works. It's wherever you are and however you
My
handle
name
your
on the cup.
situations and your
I got my
relationships,
name on
and
the cup.
also how your friends handle your relationships and you moving on. Because sometimes those friends,
Oh, yeah.
you thought was your friends, was really underlying loving you.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Big Job.
Those things
Follow
happen
that
as
episode.
well.
Big Job had an episode like that where he's like, yeah, your friend is your friend until, he waiting for you to mess
until you
up.
say I do to somebody
mess up.
else.
And I want to say that Steve Harvey said the same thing.
Yeah.
He said in his book, Straight Talk No Chaser, he said the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, we could sit here, we could talk about it all
We
day.
gonna.
But y'all read the scriptures, see what God says about it.
So you-
And acknowledge your significant other. You know what I mean? If they have an issue, then you have to acknowledge that.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? That's your significant other. And you just got to pray on it and take it up to Jesus. Hallelujah.
That's it.
But Dad, I had a great time talking about this. Thankfully, we had this part too, because I
Yes,
think we
yes.
really needed the time. Thank you, Serena, for sharing your story. And thank you,
welcome.
I'm about to call you Mark. Michael. You see what I'm saying? That's why I can't have a best male friend because I'd be calling. If I called my best friend, that would
I'm
be
gonna be your best friend, and I'm gonna show up right to the wedding with something pink on and wonderful. And shit.
But listen, if you sound and talk like that, I'm sure my husband will have no problem.
But nah,
Okay?
nah.
Because all that swag is out the window. But let us know how y'all feel. Like I said, comment. But we gotta run. Marvin is kicking us out of
man.
here. He's playing the music. He's going like this.
Look
Wrap
at
it up.
that. Okay,
Tia's just
okay.
dancing all around the booth. Wrap it up. All
he's
right, we
giving
love
us all.
y'all. We love y'all. But listen, y'all make sure y'all keep on sharing and
Subscribing.
commenting and subscribing.
Send
But-
money.
Right. And
Merchandise.
But yes, but until the next
Until
time,
the next time.
Stay divine.
divine.
Thank you once again for tuning in to the Dining with Nadiva show, a TNT production. Make sure to check us out on all the audio platforms like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, TuneIn. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Yeah.